Today is February 1st, 2024, and today I'm going to be doing the Digital Stores Management System Training, DSMS. So let's get to it. Alright, here we are. Let's take a look. I'm assuming we're still at Batumi. Probably don't have to worry about the radios or altimeter. Let's do it.
Welcome to the training lesson on the Digital Stores Management System, or DSMS, often pronounced DSMS. We'll conduct this lesson right here on the ramp, so I'm going to run the batteries and bring up some systems. DSMS is the primary interface between the pilot and payload. In the A10CII, weapon profiles are used to select and configure the weapon of choice, so that you are not really selecting a weapon per se, but selecting a profile which has a weapon assigned. For example, you can create multiple profiles for a particular weapon to prepare for various tactical scenarios. DSMS allows you to create and customize up to 20 profiles, each saved under a unique name. Profiles can be cycled by DSMS controls on the MFCD, the select rocker on the UFC, or HOTAS controls when the HUD is SOI. A selected profile is called an active profile and is displayed on the bottom left corner of the HUD.
Right now in safe mode.
DSMS includes the following pages: status page, inventory select page, selective jettison page, and missile control page. Some of these have additional subpages.
We can get
The
rid of
DTS
that.
upload page is now up. Press OSB 18 on the left MFCD to upload the DSMS data.
There we go. Oh, load DSMS instead of all. Okay.
Okay, now let's select the DSMS page with OSB 14.
Alright.
You are now looking at the status page, which is the primary display of the DSMS. This page allows you to quickly view the following information: weapon inventory and status for each of the 11 stations, release settings for the active profile, gun status and ammunition remaining, EO power timer if Maverick is active. At the top of the display, OSB 1, 2, and 4 and 5 allow you to access the other pages of the display. Without pressing any buttons, take a moment to become familiar with the display. Press the spacebar key when you are ready to proceed.
1, 2. Here's all the racks. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is in the center. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, let's see what happens.
Let's set the master arm to training mode. Left click once to set the switch to train. The blue indication on the DSMS denotes training mode. White indicates master arm safe, and green indicates master arm arm. As you can see, stations 1 through 11 are displayed sequentially clockwise, starting from the bottom left corner. Each station box indicates the profile name, which usually corresponds to the designation of the loaded weapon and the quantity remaining. Depending on the weapon, additional information may be contained inside the box, such as the launcher configuration or weapon sensor status. In the bottom center of the display, the cannon data block indicates the ammunition type and amount remaining. The center of the display indicates the current HUD mode and additional details of an active profile where one is selected. Press the spacebar key to proceed.
Let's do it.
Starting with Station 1 on the left side of the aircraft, we are carrying the ALQ-131 ECM pod. an LAU-68 2.75-inch rocket pod with 7 training rounds loaded, an AGM-65D, a BRU-42 rack with 3 BDU-33 training bombs, and a GBU-38. Continuing to the right side, we have another GBU-38, another BRU-42 rack, an AGM-65K, the AAQ-28 lighting pod, and the LAU-105 launcher loaded with 2 AIM-9Ms. We are also carrying 1,150 target practice rounds for the gun. Let's first cycle through the default profiles loaded from the DTS. To do this, we need to take the HUD out of Guns mode and into either CCIP or CCRP modes. Press the HOTAS Master Mode button or the M key on the keyboard once.
Master mode on the stick once. It's the gray button on the side. Right there. Let's see what that does. Once.
We can now cycle the profiles using the Select Rocker key on the UFC. Alternatively, because the HUD is currently SOI, you can press the HOTAS DMS left or right commands or delete and page down on the keyboard.
Alright, I'll use the DMS button on the stick, left or right. What's interesting is I saw it changing down here, but not on the HUD. I'm pushing right. Okay, it's cycling through the selections that are on the racks.
To see a list of all loaded profiles, let's enter the profile main page by pressing OSB 1.
Alright. Profile.
The profile main page presents a list of all loaded profiles. Press OSB 19 to designate the WTU rocket's profile with the pointing arrow.
Okay, so that's the down arrow to bring this down to the WTU. Got it.
You can now move this profile up and down the list using OSB 6 and 7. Disable the profile with OSB 9 and activate the profile with OSB 17. However, let's instead press OSB 3 to enter the profile control page to view the settings of this profile.
So we don't want to move this. Don't want to change it. We'll go ahead and view the profile.
The profile control page displays the weapon settings as set in the current profile. You can alter the settings along the left and right sides of the display. The settings in the profile table in the center of the display can also be changed, but from other pages. OSB 19 and 20 will cycle through the profiles without making them active. Let's try changing some of these settings for this profile. Looking at the right side of the display, you can see the current release quantity is set to single. This means that for each press of the weapon release button, only a single rocket will be fired. Let's change this to ripple single by pressing OSB 6 twice. Press the spacebar key to proceed when set.
1. Looks like pairs. 2. Ripple single.
You can now
Spacebar.
set the ripple quantity to determine how many rockets will be fired while the weapon release button is held down. For example, to set the quantity to 3, press button 3 on the UFC, and then OSB 8 to enter the value into the profile. Press the spacebar key to proceed when set.
Alright, he wants me to set it to 3. I clicked on 3. Clicked on ripple quantity button and we got 3 in there. Spacebar.
Additional options on this page include OSB 10 to set the default HUD mode and OSB 18 to paste current profile settings into a new profile. Press OSB 16 to enter the Profile Settings subpage to access additional settings underlined in the data table of the display.
16, is that what that is? Whew. Well, it's the one that's lit up. Change settings.
You can now see additional profile settings. On the left side of the display, these include the escape maneuver, desired time of flight, and minimum altitude. On the right side of the display, you can set the horizontal offset, vertical offset, weapon eject velocity, and bomb rack delay. Press OSB 3 to save the changes to this profile.
What? I don't see this. Right and up. Oh boy. Let's save it.
We are now back on the profile main page. Just as we did for the WTU profile, we could select and edit any of the other profiles. Press OSB 1 to return to the DSMS status page.
Okay, it says stat.
Profiles can also be accessed in manual mode by selecting stations via OSBs directly on the status page. Multiple stations can be selected if they are loaded with identical weapons, launchers, and profile settings. Press OSB 7 and 19 to select stations 4 and 8 loaded with BRU racks.
Alright. 7 and 19.
Note the additional profile information in the center of the display. The profile name now begins with an M/ to indicate manual mode. Profile operations in manual mode are identical to default profiles, but the profile is standalone and cannot be cycled to unless it is saved into the DSMS.
Wow. Sure.
Pressing the profile OSB 1 while in manual mode will open the profile control page directly. Let's take a look at the profile settings available for bomb release. Bomb profiles include the additional option of the fuse settings with OSB 7. This can be cycled between nose for nose fusing, tail for tails fusing, and NT for nose and tail fusing. Press OSB 6 twice to change the release setting to ripple single as we did earlier for rockets. Press the spacebar key to proceed when set.
Alright. 1, 2. Ripple single. Spacebar.
With bomb release set to a ripple setting, you can also adjust the ripple quantity and impact separation in feet. Let's change the impact separation to 150 feet. Type in 150 into the HUD scratch pad using the UFC, and then press OSB 9 to enter the value into the DSMS. Press the spacebar key to proceed when set.
Alright. 1, 5, 0. 150 feet. Spacebar.
Now save the changes with OSB 3.
Save.
Press OSB 1 to return to the DSMS status page.
Status page.
Next, let's take a look at the missile control page accessed by pressing OSB 2 from the status page.
2.
The missile control page is used to configure the AGM-TGM-65 and AIM-9 missiles. We'll discuss the Maverick missiles first. OSB 4 enables and disables power to the Maverick seeker head. Whenever the seeker head is activated, it will need 3 minutes to align, so this should be done prior to entering the target area. Once activated, an EO timer is displayed in the bottom right corner of the display. You can try pressing the button now, but note that in training mode, the DSMS will not actually power up the seeker.
Alright.
OSB 5 selects between manual, location, and time modes of applying EO power. In manual mode, the seeker head is only powered by the pilot pressing the EO power OSB. In location mode, the seeker head is powered at a set range and bearing from a specified waypoint. In time mode, the seeker head is powered at a specific clock time. Press OSB 5 to set the location automatic power function. Press the spacebar key to proceed when set.
So, we want location. There it is. Spacebar.
Configuring the location automatic power on function requires a few steps. First, select the waypoint rotary by pressing OSB 9. You should see the up-down rotary arrows on the OSB become highlighted.
Alright.
Now, press the function button on the UFC, indicated by the F adjacent to the UFC scratch pad on the HUD, and press the select rocker up to cycle to the next waypoint. You will see the waypoint number change on the missile control page. Press the spacebar key to proceed when set.
Function up. Yep, went to 1. I guess you gotta hit function each time. Function 2, yeah. So that it knows you want to perform the function there. 3. Wait a minute. Function down, that said 51. 2. So there was no waypoint 3, it just jumped to 51. Alright, let's go down one more. 1. Spacebar.
Now, to enter bearing and range, type in a bearing value in the UFC, for example 065, and press OSB 7. Then type in a range value, for example 20, followed by OSB 8. Press the spacebar key to proceed when set.
Alright, 065. Bearing. Hey. Got an input error. Hit clear. Uh-oh. I can't clear this input error. That's not good. Why won't it clear? That's not good. Function clear? Whew, there we go. Alright, let's try it again. 065. So, function clear will clear an error in that scratch pad. Good to know. Bearing. And then we're supposed to put in 20. For the range. And then we hit the spacebar.
EO power will now be applied to the Maverick automatically as you approach 20 nautical miles at bearing 065 from the designated waypoint.
Wow.
The diameter of the activation point is 10 nautical miles or 25% of the set range from the waypoint, whichever is greater. When set to time mode, the time EO power function on OSB 10 is used to enter a clock time value in a similar fashion as we entered the bearing and range information for location mode. The Maverick bore sight adjust function on OSB 6 is used to set the bore sight position of the missile seeker. On the left side of the display, OSB 19 is a rotary function to set the AIM-9 missiles to off, cool, and select modes. When set to select, the HUD mode changes to air-to-air. Press OSB 1 again to return to the DSMS status page.
Didn't quite get what he just said. So this can be set to time mode, then it uses this timer, okay. Then Maverick adjusts right here. Used to set the bore sight position of the missile seeker. That sounds serious. And on the left side, the display OSB-19 is a rotary function to set the A-mine missiles to off, cool, and select modes. AIM-9. There's two of them here. OSB-19. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's the one they're talking about. Should have guessed that this was 20. Oh well. To return to the DMS status page, OSB1. Okay.
Next, we'll take a look at the Jettison Select page. Press OSB 4.
Jettison Select page. That's interesting.
The Jettison Select page is similar to the status page, except you are now selecting stores to jettison. OSB 4 is a rotary function to select between fuse options. OSB 5 is a rotary to select between the following jettison modes. STR, store. When in STR mode, the user can jettison stores from one or more selected stations. Stores are released in pairs mode. Rack, station rack. When in rack mode, the user can select one or multiple stations that have racks assigned to them and jettison them along with any stores attached to them. If more than one station is selected that is assigned a rack, then they are released in paired mode. A rack or pair of racks is jettisoned with each press of the weapon release button. MSL, missile. In this mode, any Maverick assigned to an LAU-88 tier will be launched in an unguided, unarmed mode with each depression of the weapon release button. If both tiers are selected, Mavericks will be launched in pairs. MSL jettison is not available for the LAU-117. If a station is selected that is not loaded with a LAU-88 and Maverick, only the station number will be displayed in reverse video. When you are ready, press OSB 1 to return to the status page.
Wow. Alright. That was jettison.
For our last topic of the lesson, let's enter the inventory select page with OSB 5.
Inventory main page.
The primary function of the inventory page is to allow you to assign a particular weapon to a specified weapon station. This allows you to correct an error when the weapon type does not match the one specified in the profile, and it allows you to set additional weapon settings not available in the profile settings page. It also allows you to create virtual payloads in training mode. Outside of a malfunction that produces an error, you should not have a need to access this page in normal operations, because the DTS cartridge will include all the default profiles for the weapons loaded on the jet. However, we'll try setting up one station as an example. Press the spacebar key to proceed when ready.
Alright.
We'll reset the Maverick on Station 3. First, press OSB 18 to select the station.
Alright.
Now press OSB 18 again to select Missile as the weapon class.
We want to change the missile inventory.
And now you can select the specific missile model loaded. Notice also you can select between missile types with OSB 4, missile quantity with OSB 5, and launcher configuration with OSB 8. Press OSB 18 once more to select AGM-65D.
Alright.
Let's return to the status page with OSB 1.
Okay.
This concludes the training lesson on the Digital Stores Management System.
Whoa. That's it? Hopefully we don't have to do much with that during missions. Well, I hope you found that interesting. The one thing I did have to figure out is if you have an error in your scratch pad, you can clear it. Normally, I thought with just clear, but if that doesn't work, press function clear, and that should clear the scratch pad out. That's it for now.